Now, veteran broadcaster David Attenborough's latest documentary is not only a visual but also an audible feast. It explores how creatures hear, produce and make decisions through sound. Our reporter Bethany Minelle talked to series producer looking and listening to the animal world like never before.
We're used to the phrase never before seen, not so much never before heard. Now, world-renowned naturalist Sir David Attenborough is bringing us noises from nature never before captured on film. From mammals to birds, amphibians and fish, the secret world of sound with David Attenborough uses cutting-edge technology to explore the way animals hear and produce sound. I sat down with series producer Sharmila Choudhury to find out more. Where did the idea come from to focus on the sound? Because we're so used to visuals being king in everything, aren't we?
Absolutely. So natural history films in particular are known for their stunning visuals, as you know. But the sounds of the natural world, they often take a secondary role. So they are very often drowned out by orchestral music. And we thought we would like to let the viewers experience what the natural world really sounds like and to place sound centre stage for the first time.
How did you decide what animals and what sounds to focus on?
So every single sound that you hear in the natural world has a function. It's evolved for a reason. And that may be to find a mate or to help look after the young or to hunt for prey or to avoid being eaten. So that was sort of the breakdown of the narrative that we wanted to tell.
And talk to me about technology. You had some sort of James Bond type gadgets involved and some quite amazing cutting edge things.
So we used everything from the tiniest microphone the size of your fingernail that you could put inside a bird nest or a beehive to super sensitive hydrophones that you can put underwater to record the faintest communications between fish. But there were also a couple of gadgets that were actually developed for industry, for the gas industry, for espionage purposes, that we thought might help us to listen in on sounds that we don't normally get to hear.
What would you say your biggest challenge when filming the show was?
The biggest challenge, without any doubt, was climate change. And it's something that we've seen creep in on us over the years. I've been, in the industry making wildlife films for over 30 years. And in the last decade or so, more and more shoots have been impacted by climate change. And that means that animals that would be predictable in their movements, say their migrations or where they would be or the time of year they'd be breeding, are not doing the usual things anymore. And it started off with one or two parts of the world or one or two shoots being affected by this, but on this particular series, every single shoot was impacted by climate change, and that made, one, filming very difficult, but secondly, it was very distressing to see the animals suffering in this new world.
One of those shoots I suspect you're talking about was in Kenya, looking at the elephants. Talk to me about that.
So we went to Amboseli National Park in Kenya to film elephants there, and the plan was to film a sequence or story about how mothers and babies communicate with each other. When we arrived, Kenya had just experienced its worst drought in 40 years. There hadn't been any rain for over a year, and it was shocking to see the ground was parched. But more importantly, the elephants were behaving very differently to before. So they had split up into tiny herds, and every night they would go out of the park to surrounding fields, farmers' fields, to try and find some food. And every morning they would walk back in to the water hole in the middle of the park. And they would walk single file, heads down, absolutely dejected, and they didn't make a single sound.
You've been working with Sir David Attenborough now for many years. He's somewhat of an institution, inspiring people all over the globe. What is he like to work with?
David is an inspiration to all of us who've worked with him. He is phenomenally knowledgeable. The depth and breadth of his knowledge is astounding. He brings a lot of passion, enthusiasm and knowledge to every project that he's involved in.
tracking down noises normally out of reach of the human ear. This deep dive of animal behaviour puts sound centre stage, changing the way you hear the natural world outside your window for good. Bethany Minelle, Sky News.
Looking forward to that.